Hey there, future nurses. Are you struggling with IV drip calculations? You're not alone. In this video, I'm going to be breaking it down step by step, utilizing this guide so that you'll never feel lost again. By the end of this video, you should know exactly how to calculate IV flow rates just like a pro, even under pressure. Are you ready? Let's dive in. So let's start off with this sample problem that I have right here. You're asked in the question where you're given an order of 500 milliliters to be infused over 4 hours, and you're given a drip factor of 15 GTTS per milliliter, or 15 drops per milliliter. So how can you begin calculating this so that you can come up with the right response? First things first, you want to know your order. You're given the volume, which is 500 milliliters, and to be infused over 4 hours. That's step one. We're going to go into step two, where now you have to check your drip factor. Your drip factor is 15 drops per milliliter. It's very important that you are mindful of the units that you are using or that you're provided in the question so that you know exactly what to work with in the question. Now, in step three, you're going to utilize the formula. The formula for drip factor is you're given the volume times the drip and the time in minutes. This is the most common formula that is utilized to help you calculate your drip factors. Once you have your formula, you are going to plug in your numbers, solve, and set the flow rate. Okay, so how are you going to plug in your numbers? Your volume is 500 milliliters, and then you're given a drip factor of 15 be infused over 4 hours. It's very important that you understand that you always calculate for your time to be infused in minutes. So if you're given in the problem hours, make sure you multiply by 60 so that you're getting your minutes. Okay, now if they already given you the minute to do, all you just do is put it in minutes. But if it's given in hours, make sure you translate your hours to minutes. Now we start to calculate. Okay, so you have 500 times 15, that gives you 7,500 drops, and then you have your minutes or your time, which is 4 hours times the 60 minutes, that gives you 240 minutes. Now notice that I canceled out, you see, the milliliters, because you want to make sure you set up your formula what you are given with what you're looking for. We've canceled out the milliliters right here, and then you're given your drip, and then you're using minutes because you're converting your hours into minutes. Okay, so you're left with drips right here and minutes. Once you've plugged in your numbers, 7,500 drips over 240 minutes, you calculate and you end up with 31.25. Students, it's important that you understand when it comes to drip factors, the questions may not always tell you what to round to. You must know automatically that you have to round to the nearest whole number. You need to know how to round. So because this is a whole number, the number before the decimal point, that's the number that you're going to be manipulating. Number right here, which is in the ones place value, to know if you're going to manipulate it. The number after the decimal point, which is the 2, is going to tell you what to do with it. Any value of 5 and above, you round up. But if it's 4 and below, you leave it alone. And since this number right here is 2, your answer will automatically become 31. It is very, very important that you know that, because you will be marked incorrectly if you do not round correctly, even if you solve the problem correctly. The answer is 31 drops per minute. That's a sample problem. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Now let's go into a problem that you might see on a test, okay? Something I like to give as an educator. So you're given a problem like this. The physician orders vancomycin 500 milligrams in 250 milliliters of D5W IV piggyback daily to infuse over 2 hours. The tubing drop factor is 15 GTT per milliliter. calculate the flow rate in drops per minute. This is what you're looking for right here. They want drops per minute. First things first, you see how you have all these different numerical values in this question? This is what stumps a lot of students. They don't know if they should be working with this 500 because it's in a problem, or this 5 that's in there as well. Make sure you always start off with writing off what it is that you need first. What's the order? You need to start off with drops per minute. Okay, write that down. Your formula is volume, which is the 250, and your time, which is 2 hours, and your drip factor, which is the 15 drops. You do not need to work with anything else. Extra numerical values like this 500 that you see, trust me, it is not given to trick you. You need to know what you're working with. This is simply stating that for every 250 milliliters of a solution that's in this bag, right? Let's say this bag right here had 250 milliliters. 500 milligrams of that medication is inside that fluid. That's all it's saying. And for the real world, you need to know that. You need to know what you're working with so that you are making sure you are administering the safe dosage to your patient. So do not think that these questions are out to trick you. All right, so how are we going to calculate this? Same thing. Step 1, what's the order? The order is the volume is 250 milliliters, and the time, of course, is going to be 2 hours. So again, remember, we're going to convert our hours to minutes, and this is where you have 2 hours times the 60 minutes, and you have a total of 120 minutes. So now step 3, we are going to use the formula, and this is your formula, which is flow rate drips per minute, which equals volume, which is in milliliters. It's typically given in milliliters. Drip factor, which is GTT per milliliter, and then times in minute. Now, if your volume is not given in milliliters and it's given in liters instead, you would have to convert your liters to milliliters. Let's say it said instead of 500 milliliters, it said 0.5 liters. You would convert that 0.5 liters to 500 milliliters. Once you've done that, okay, you plug in your values. That's step 4. Our formula is the volume, which is 250 milliliters. You have your drip factor, which is 15, and then you have your time, which is in minutes, 120 minutes. Drops per minute is what the question was asking, and now you have that in your formula. When you did cancel everything you needed to cancel, drops per minute, do your math, 31.25 drops per minute. Again, I have to say it again, when you're rounding, make sure you know, first of all, when it comes to drop factors, the questions will not always tell you what to round to. You should know automatically you round to the nearest whole number. You can't give half a drop, you can't give a quarter of a drop, you can't give a tenth of a drop, you can only give a whole drop. So since we can't slice the drop, you have to know you're rounding to the nearest whole number, and this is why, again, just like I said previously, the 2, which is in the 10th place, will tell you what to do with that value that's in the 1's place, which is the number 1, and that's how you end up with 31 drops per minute. Here in this problem, the physician orders Kefsol 2 grams in 50 milliliters of normal saline IV piggyback to infuse over 30 minutes with a tubing drop factor of 60 drops per milliliter. Again, now you have a bunch of numerical values. How do I know which one to work with? Using our formula again, we know we're dealing with volume right here. We're going to be dealing with, of course, the time, which is 30 minutes. Now you notice your time is automatically given to you in minutes, so you do not have to convert because it's in minutes already. And then also you're using the 60. This 2 grams right here is not necessary. All right, so we're going to go in, utilize our formula, volume times drip factor in times per minute. Let's plug in everything. Our volume is the 50 milliliters, and then we have 60 drops per milliliter, so the milliliter is going to cancel, and then our time is already in minutes already is 30, so you're going to do 50 times 60, which is 3,000, divided by 30 minutes, and your response is 100 drops per minute. Let's do one more problem. And this problem right here is a bit tricky, and you got to be very, very careful. Remember, we said we got to know what numbers we're working with. In this problem here, the physician orders 1,000 milliliters of lactated ringers to infuse over 125 milliliters per hour for a post-op patient with a tubing factor of 20 drops per milliliter. Oh no! Well, we got two volumes over here. We got 1,000 milliliters, and then we also have 125 milliliters. Which one we gonna work with in the formula? So how do we know which numbers to work with when there's only one volume that we can plug into the formula? Very simple. The 1,000 in this question is the total volume that's in that bag to be infused. But the doctor specifically wants a specific rate. So in this question, we're going to utilize the rate factor, not the total volume here, but the rate, because the doctor wants for every hour 125 milliliters of that 1,000 milliliter is to be infused into the client. Pay attention. Let me say that one more time. The physician orders a total volume of 1,000 milliliters. So the bag comes in 1,000 milliliters of this solution. But the doctor wants this medication to run at a speed of 125 milliliters per hour, meaning every 1 hour that patient should get 125 milliliters into their body intravenously. I hope that makes sense. So this is why we're going to use the 125 milliliter, because that's how fast we're going to infuse that medication. So like I said, know the order, which is you're infusing 1,000 milliliters of that solution at a rate of 125 milliliters per hour, and you want to identify the values that are in the question is 1,000 milliliter, which is the total volume, and you have a tubing drip factor of 20 to infuse over 60 minutes and at a rate of 125 milliliters per hour. Step 3, you're going to use a formula to calculate how fast the infusion. So we're going to substitute the values, because now we're going to use that 125 milliliters per hour, because that's how fast the doctor wants it to infuse, times the drip factor of 20 over 1 hour. Utilizing the same standard formula, volume times drip factor over time in minutes. The hour is going to cancel. The milliliter is also going to be canceled. And then you're left with drops per minute. Now, when you do your calculation, you have 41.667. Again, the 10th place value will indicate what you'll do with that value that's in the ones place. Let me say that again. The 10th place value will indicate what you would do with this number right here, right? Following our rules again, the 6 is 5 and above, so you're going to change that 1 and change it to 42. Okay, you always just go a number up or you leave it alone. 41 turns into 42, and that is how fast you will infuse that medication. And there you have it. IV drip calculation made simple, step by step. Did this video make IV calculations easier for you? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more nursing tips and tricks. Thank you so much for watching. Your learning journey inspires me to keep creating more helpful content.